Welcome to episode 210 of the Lone Hockey Podcast. For today, we're going to be talking about some standouts in last night's matchup between Detroit and Vancouver. And really intriguing matchup. You get Alex DeBrincat with two goals in this game, and Detroit ended up winning in overtime. And just a really good all-around effort. You had Patrick Kane back, and he was back off IR retrospective to, I believe it was January 21st. And having Patrick Kane back was huge. Having Alex DeBrincat have a big game was huge. Lucas Raymond was really good. Mo Sider was really good. Just a lot of their top guys were really noticeable, which is really good to see. And obviously, when you're playing a good team, Vancouver's played better, I would say, as of late. And I think honestly, they're going to play better hockey without the Miller situation and that whole thing looming around. I feel like they're going to play better and have a streak where they play a little bit better hockey now. But in terms of Detroit, they just had a lot of their top guys rolling, like I said, and I felt like a lot of their guys are just really engaged offensively, which is really noticeable to see, and especially in overtime. Like a lot of their guys were moving the puck around really well, making plays with speed, and I noticed in terms of 5-on-5 play, how they were detailing their line rush game. They had layers to their line rush game. They were just creating a lot of chances in terms of their movement and how they're able to create. And like I said, DeBrincat was really good. I thought Lucas Raymond was making a lot of plays all over the ice, and that's what really stands out when it comes to him is his playmaking and his vision, and two things that are really key to his offensive zone instincts and awareness and how he's able to process and interpret the game mentally. I feel like is a huge component to him, and he's turned into a really elite play driver for them over time. And we've seen flashes and bits and pieces of him showing that elite vision in years past, but I feel like this year he's really taken that step forward in how he's interpreting situations and how he's really reading the ice. And I feel like he's just playing the game so instinctually and he's understanding the game at an elite level. So he's turned into an elite player. He's turned into a player who's very exciting to watch. And Simon Edvinsson, another young player who's become more exciting to watch over time, stands out literally at I believe he's 6'6". So but he stands out in terms of his size, his ability to have skill, his two-way game, and he's become more reliable and he's gotten more ice time under McClellan too. His ice time has maintained that consistency, and I feel like some of the young guys that Detroit has, they've maintained their development under McClellan so far. And Simon Edmondson is just a guy who not super flashy offensively, but he makes the right reads at the right moments. I feel like that's what stands out when it comes to him. He's good with his stick, he's active with his stick, he's active with his positional play, he's active with his roots, and he's controlled with how he manages the puck. So he's not going to excessively freak out or overmanage the puck. He's going to move the puck off his stick in a timely way and not excessively handle the puck. So that's really a noticeable quality when I notice his game and when I watch his game more in depth is how he manages the game, how he manages tempo, how he manages one-on-one. I feel like those three components are really key to him. And especially him being a younger defenseman, you want to be able to see him control situations with poise and not get freaked out all the time. Some defensemen, especially at that size, they get spooked when they get the puck and they just make panic plays, and their panic threshold isn't necessarily as good as they could be and how they could develop that. But it's more subjective when it comes to players. And Simon Edvinson's one of those guys who he doesn't panic that much when he has the puck. And he's always looking to make plays. He's always looking to make the right timely read. And his vision, his awareness are always on point when it comes to ozone instincts. So he was really good, really noticeable. Elmer Soderblom has been really good ever since getting recalled from Grand Rapids. His last NHL action was, I believe, 2 years ago in the 22-23 season before he played again this year. So, but he's looked good. I've noticed his playmaking. Another guy that quite literally stands out. He's 6'8", and but on top of his size, he's got awareness. He's got good reach. He isn't the fastest player because at that size, it's really hard to pivot, especially with those longer limbs that those players at that size have. So it's harder for them to turn and accelerate off their edges. But when it comes to Soderblom, his playmaking and his awareness there stands out. I feel like he's actually a really underrated puck handler, and some bigger forwards at that size, they struggle to handle the puck, but he's not one of them. And he's really noticeable when it comes to puck management and being able to make plays and make plays to interior space. So he was really good, really noticeable. Not super flashy, but he's reliable. I feel like that's what you're getting out of him on a regular basis too. And Jonathan Berggren, who is a guy that is playing with tons of speed. I feel like I've noticed him a lot more on line rush this year compared to last year in terms of how he's using his speed, creating differentials of speed to get behind checks, and being able to play with that tempo on a regular basis with and without the puck is really important for him and his development. I don't really know what he's going to be long term with Detroit. That's the only issue. And he's a good player. He's got a lot of skill. He showed some middle six upside. I just don't know what he is long term yet. But certainly a player that has some potential. On Vancouver side, Filipino, first goal as a Canuck, and was just he was so good in this game. And I noticed his off puck detail, his on puck detail is good. He showed some dual threat ability. On his goal, I talked about in my article today how he was F1 out of the zone and then F3 back into the zone on the neutral zone reload, and how he was able to get into the O zone on entry, be the secondary layer, then maneuver across the Royal Road with the puck, and then score on the short side. It was just a really, really nice sequence. I'm curious to see what he becomes in Vancouver, if he becomes a top six center or if he stays true to more of his middle six reputation that he's garnered with the Rangers. He's with the Rangers, he hasn't blossomed into that true top six center. Part of the reason is because they have elite centers there, and moving him now was a really good move for the Rangers because you get JT Miller back, obviously, but moving Heedle, it was time to move on from Heedle, and it was coming to a point where he wasn't really going to get much more ice time than he was already at. So it was a good move for the Rangers to send him off elsewhere for him to individually get more opportunity. And he was really good throughout this game, just showed a lot of skill and showed a lot of maneuvering with his hands, his speed, his tempo, and his flair was noticeable there. Outside of that, there honestly weren't too many notable players for Vancouver. I felt like there were a few guys there. Elias Pettersson, not the Elias Pettersson, or no, Elias Pettersson, the defenseman. That's how you say his first name, not Elias. It's Elias. And Elias Pettersson was good. He was steady, mobile, active. It's kind of weird to think that the Canucks have three Petterssons. They have Pettersson, Pettersson, and then Marcus Pettersson. So that's gonna be interesting. But anyway, with Elias Pettersson, he was steady, mobile, showed that two-way ability, that reach, and steady hands there as well. Hugh Suter is the other guy that stood out. I noticed him a little bit here and there. He's not a flashy player. He's more of a bottom six, bottom nine style winger, and scored against his former team in this game. He was noticeable, but not on a regular basis. I noticed him inconsistently, but his two-way ability, his shutdown ability was there, and his physical edge was also there and noticeable as well throughout this game.